皆様、本日はお忙しい中、また時差もある中、第6回帰国留学生総会にお集まりいただき、ありがとうございます。これより、第6回帰国留学生総会第2セッションを開始いたします。本セッションから司会を務めます、外務省人物交流室の田貝由紀です。よろしくお願いいたします。第2セッションのテーマは、日本と元留学生帰国留学生会とのつながり維持強化に向けた課題です。日本への留学を終え帰国した留学生は時間の経過とともに日本とのつながりや関心が薄れていく傾向があります。こうした中で皆様が元留学生が日本との関係を維持強化できるようどのような支援を行っているかについてご説明ください。またその支援を行う上で直面している課題についてもお聞かせください。合わせて日本との関係強化や皆様の出身国全体におけるジャパンフレンズの拡大に向け、これらの団体との、関係団体との今後の連携の可能性についてのご見解をお聞かせください。今回このテーマで発表いただくのは、ネパールとイギリスとエチオピアの参加者です。各発表の後には、それぞれガーナとパキスタンとスイスからの参加者から簡単にコメントを述べていただきます。発表コメントがすべて終わった後に、オンラインでご参加いただいておりますトンガのテレカキさんからもコメントを述べていただこうと思っております。まずネパールのバッタライさんの発表です。それではバッタライさん、よろしくお願いします。
皆様、おはようございます。こんにちは。本日はお招きいただき、誠にありがとうございます。日本とネパールの友情に心より敬意を表します。私はネパールのパワン・バタライです。日本大学同窓会ネパールジュアン JUAAN の会長を務めております。京都大学で博士号を取得し、現在はネパールの国立大学で教員をしております。それでは英語で挨拶させていただきます。Thank you. So, I will start my presentation on current engagement and future opportunities in strengthening Japan-Juan relationship. So this is my content of presentations. I will introduce a little about Juan for maintaining ties, and then challenges and other alumni association activities and the way forward. So we all know that alumni is the strategic soft power assets for Japan and for all the countries. Its influence across the many government, academia, and industrial ecosystem. It is very successful in Nepal, in terms of other associations with other countries. In Nepal, there is a rapid expansion of Japan-educated human capital. It is steady increase in the last few years in the field of STEM, governance, and development sector. If you see the membership status of Nepal Juan, we have currently 400 active members. So out of which 77% is the male and 23% is female. And in occupation-wise, most of the members returned from the Japan work in the university and academia sector is around 41%. Then second most is government job, 24%. Then NGO, INGO around 13%, and hospital health 12%, and other freelancer and business sector. So these are the occupation-wise, the membership status of Japanese Alumni Association, Universities Association in Nepal. And if we see the timeline, it is important to state that there is a century-long Japan-Nepal academic partnership. If you see the foundation, it was started in 1902 in Meiji period when 8 Nepali students sent to Japan under state sponsorship. I think that was the first group of foreign students for Nepal also and for the Japan also under the government scholarship. So this is the first government-supported foreign study initiative, foundation of bilateral knowledge and exchange. Then the network emergence in 1963. We have informal association of Japan return graduate at that time, and this acts as a seed of institutional alumni engagement. And in 1973, we formally established Japan Student and Trainees Club, which is registered in Nepal. That was the first alumni association in South Asia and second in the Asia, I think, after Thailand. So this is the starting point of our alumni in 1973. Then in 1996, we have expanded this association to the JUSAN, which is Japanese University Student Association of Nepal. We have a growing diversity of academic exchange, broader representation of Japan-trained professionals, so that will have expansion from 1996. And from 2008 to present, we have established the JUAN, that is the Japanese Universities Alumni Association of Nepal, with the dedicated association of university graduates. Actually, we only have members who have at least 1 year's stay in the Japanese university with formal degree. So that is under the JUAN establishment. And we have also have a leader role in regional leadership through SAFJUA. When 2004 alumni conference in Tokyo recommend to form the regional association or platform, so Nepal take the lead in 2005, and we have established the SAFJUA. So it is working very well. Every year we change the chair. We have different programs from the different member countries. So we are still searching 2 more countries, Maldives and Afghanistan. If in future we can add them to make it more inclusive. So we might know everybody about the Alumni Association objective. We also follow the same objective to unite, support, and facilitate collaboration among the Nepali graduate, to exchange skill, experience, and knowledge gained in Japan, to promote, strengthen, and deepen bilateral relationship, cultural exchanges between Nepal and Japan, and to act as a bridge fostering professional growth, mentorship, and collaboration among the members. So programs, we used to, existing program to making a tie with Japan is, we used to every year, Benkyokai, Kangekai, orientation for mixed students, seminars, symposiums, Japan education fairs, Ohanami, Ikebana, language competition, karaoke, essay writing and publication, and excellence award. These are some of the programs we used to do every year with the help of Embassy of Japan in Kathmandu. So very kind cooperation from Embassy of Japan and MOFA. So, and we also support Embassy of Japan in Nepal for various their activities which has a people-to-people relationship. And we have, for the funding, we have one more memorial fellowship. It's called Sakai Lions Club and Imanishi Memorial Fellowship. Imanishi is the first climber of the Makalu in Nepal, and he has established a fund which is managed by JUAN. So where we mobilize resources for socio-economic development projects like school construction and heritage conservation. So we do on such area. And I already talked about the SAFJUA. Through SAFJUA, South Asia Japanese Speech Contest, Symposium, and other talk programs we used to do in the regular basis. And there are some pictures with collaboration with EOJ, JICA Nepal also collaborate with us. We used to plant sakura every year, and this year also we have planned in the 70 years of diplomatic relationship between Nepal and Japan. We have a plan for mass sakura plantation. We have a mixed scholarship orientation program, various seminar, and SAFJUA meeting, annual functions, Hanami festival. There is, we call it JUAN Connect. We used to discuss in many important issues with our members and guests from the Japan. We used to do study in Japan fair. with the help of JASO previously, but now it was stopped, but we used to do the study in Japan fair also. And even we have some Japanese professor visiting Nepal, Professor Masako Tanaka. She used to explain in various migration, women-led family migration pattern from Nepal. These are the topics. And we use for Nepalese context, renewable energy for prosperity. Such kind of prosperity dialogue series is also we used to do with collaboration with Embassy of Japan. And there are challenges. This is the important points. So what are the challenges? I divide my challenges into three major areas. So first is the structural and institutional challenges. So we have a limited dedicated secretariat and administrative capacity because we all do volunteer works. And we have an absence of permanent funding mechanisms. So we used to search for very small type of, there are so many small functions we do, and we collect the fund from the members and with other sponsors. And thank you MOFA and Embassy of Japan. They also support in many programs we do with the help of Embassy. So need for more structured coordination framework with Japanese institution, what I think. Next one is another challenge is alumni engagement challenge. That is very much problematic these days for us. Main is alumni dispersed across the sectors and geographical regions. So they have, and the senior professionals, which is the role models for the very new graduates, they have a limited time availability. So that is another problem. And we have a difficulty in maintaining the updated alumni database. We are working on that one with many programs, but still we feel that is another challenge. And the third one, of course, everybody believe in resource and financial constraint. So dependence on event-based funding support. So we used to do event like, for example, this year we are working to have a seminar, South Asian regional seminar on education, topics of education, what Japan has done for South Asia in terms of education. So for that case also we are having a very much activities to generate the funds to make that program successful. And we have a limited revenue generation mechanism, so we need to have a diversified funding models. So we have collected fund through membership, we have some grants, and we have partnership with some companies, and we do some small, really small type of works to generate the funding. So we have tried a lot to get these challenges going, but still there are some challenges left in this area. And next topics were the fellow organizations. So if apart from Juan, we say in Nepal there is a JICA Alumni Association of Nepal active there. Nepal UTS Alumni Society. Recently they have established JDS Alumni Association in Nepal, which is the returning from JDS scholarship. And another was Nepal JSPS Alumni Association. So except JICA, there are some members we belongs to JICA alumni, also the member of the Juan, because they all are, most of them are the university graduate, but Nepal AOTS and JICA alumni has many members which are not the member of Juan, but others, JDS Alumni Association is also member of Juan, and Nepal GSPS Alumni Association members are also member of Juan. So we are like an umbrella organization, and we work with them in various activities. And about their activities, JICA Alumni Association Nepal has a various activity. What I've got from their information is they have a AGM and regular executive committee meetings. They publish annual magazines. They host cultural, social, and community events, conduct seminar, workshops, and they act as a platform for knowledge sharing between JICA returnees and Nepali institutions. And AOTS activities also. AOTS also offers training and workshop for HRD and industry skill enhancement, host conference and thematic seminar, conduct general body meeting, professional guides and annual reports. They link to the global AOTS alumni initiative for knowledge exchange and technical seminar participation. These are the their works, and finally, what are the future possible collaboration with other associations? So what we think is we need to have a strategic collaboration with JAN. We need to have a structured collaboration to integrate JICA trained professional into national alumni initiatives. So we have to joint policy dialogue leveraging technical expertise gained through JICA programs. So we have also planned for partnership with AOTS for industrial and technical linkage. And what we thought during our meeting is we need to have an integrated alumni diplomacy platform where we do every year annual Japan Alumni Leadership Summit with considering all the organization working in Nepal with separating in many thematic working group like infrastructure, DRR, innovation, or education. So what is the way forward? The first is strengthening people-to-people diplomacy. And I want to inform you that 2026 is very special for us because it is the 17th anniversary between Nepal and Japan diplomatic relationship. So we are going to celebrate as a festival whole this year, and Embassy of Japan in Nepal is also working on many programs, and we have also planned many programs. Like for example, we have a visible and impactful program like half marathon. We are planning to have a half marathon in this occasion, and mass sakura plantation in Kathmandu. We have a nationwide Japanese language competition. We have a South Asian regional seminar on education. We have already decided the date. It is on November 5 and 6, and the theme is education. So that is very much important because Nepal showed the lead to the South Asia about the education, because Nepal is the first country to say look to the East for the education, and they sent our Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, sent the students to Japan. So that is very much important thematic topics for us for this year program. And Joan will be honored to serve as a supporting partner for the various program organized by MOFA and EOJ. And the next one, that is our new vision, that why not let's establish one Japan-Nepal alumni strategic platform. So what we thought is this is the concept framework for a structured long-term bilateral engagement mechanism where a coordinated alumni platform for connection, collaboration, and policy dialogue between Japan and Nepal. The main objective of this new vision will be institutionalized engagement of Japan-educated professionals in Nepal, align alumni expertise with Japan-Nepal development cooperation, and move beyond networking toward measurable policy and institutional impact. So the strategic framing will be institutionalizing human capital diplomacy between Japan and Nepal. That is our new vision to develop this platform. And how JNSP will work, according to us, is there are three core components. There might be an annual JNASP summit. So we should have one annual JNASP summit. Then we divide in thematic working group like infrastructure, HRD, SME, and innovation. And we not only do such kind of summit, we have to find out annual impact report and coordinated engagement mechanism. So that is very strategic value for Japan. What we think is this is strengthen long-term soft power and leadership network. It supports implementation of Japan-supported development initiatives and contribute to a free and open Indo-Pacific through connectivity, knowledge, and institutional partnership. And Juan, as a Nepal, could be a nodal point for such a connectivity. So what we thought, a sustainable platform designed not only to celebrate alumni, but to strategically mobilize them. So that was our way forward. So expression of gratitude and continued commitment. We express our gratitude to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Government of Japan, for kind consideration to provide commendation to Juan on the occasion of 120 years of relationship between the people of Nepal and Japan in 2022. Thank you, MOFA, for this commendation, and Juan remains committed to further enhancing friendship and mutual understanding between the people of Nepal and Japan in close cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan or Embassy of Japan. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
バッタライさん、大変興味深いプレゼンテーション誠にありがとうございました。バッタライさんの発表についてガーナのアルマさんからコメントを頂戴いたします。アルマさん、よろしくお願いします。
Thank you very much for the good talk. A lot of things that we said are very common to what we also said. We also feel there's always been the issue of the JICA participants and also the purely academic area. And we also started by saying that we were going to only include members into our association. Members will be those who at least had some degree program in the universities. But then we also realized that a lot of people also went on the short-term courses in Japan, some of them longer, some of them shorter. And there was variation in the understanding of the Japanese culture. So we had two groups working, and sometimes the messages that are sent out are not very clear. And so we were advised that why don't you put all of them together? And that is what we try to do. The pure membership of those who had education is there, but in our activities, we work together. And so we are able to share experience, share some of the knowledge, and sort of put this down. So I was wondering whether with the Juan group that you have, does it include also the JICA people and those who went for short programs? I just wanted to have an idea, because it makes the dissemination of information, it makes the approaches to some of the events a bit cumbersome.
Yeah, thank you, George. Actually, you rightly pointed out that, but according to our Juan constitution, we have a member who has a university degree for at least 1 year in Japan. So that's why we have only such members who follow some guidelines according to our constitution. So you are right, but we used to collaborate with Jan every time. With many members are also members of Juan, and we are doing work together. And JICA is very kind, and they are also, the JICA chief always come to our program, and we are very good. But that is one important aspect you have searched. And we also thinking how to connect such a short-term training returning from Japan to a larger picture. So that's why we have proposed some annual meet with all the different organization. But the current setup, so we are not including such a returning, so that is the part. So, but that is very important point you have elaborated.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
エチオピアのイサイアさん、お願いします。
Thank you for the very great and energetic presentation. Having said that, I will have two questions. One, I would like to learn how you sustain. I'm asking about the issue of sustainability, regardless of the leader and so on and so forth. So this is something that I would like to learn from your experience. And the second point is, do you collaborate with other alumni? Because there is Japanese alumni, could be German alumni or some other within your country. Are there some experience sharing among these alumni? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So about sustainability, every year, very kind support from MOFA and Embassy of Japan. We used to do many programs that was supported financially by Embassy of Japan and MOFA. That is a very important help to the Nepal Juan from the government of Japan. So apart from that one, we also did a lot of activities based upon our own funds. For example, we have 2 to 3 aspects of fund collection. Membership is of course, every year each member will give certain percentage of money to sustain our association. That is the important part from the members. We thank all the members. And second is when we do some activities, so we will search for sponsors and from the companies, because Japan is a very good destination for Nepalese, because they are very, what you say, every Nepalese has a, if they look forward for the Japan. So there are many companies who support our initiatives because we are the bridge between Japan and Nepal. So we searched for the funds, and companies and many language institute or many other restaurants and other things, they used to support us in various aspects. So from there also we used to collect the funds. So, and one the Imanisi Fellowship Trust, so we have a fixed deposit in the bank. So every year we get some interest, and from that interest we used to do activities related to Japan and Nepal, and according to their constitution, 20% of the total interest the Juan can use for their activities. So that is another what you call funding mechanism we have developed for the sustainability of the Juan. That is your first question. And about the second question, of course, we have these last few years, we have started these initiatives. Whenever, for example, when we celebrate our annual day or something, we invite Australian alumni, German alumni, Russian alumni, and other alumni people to our program. So most of the people, they will come to our program, and they also started to invite us for their annual program. So this only started from last 2 to 3 years. So I think American, USA alumni, Australian alumni, they're very active. Norwegian alumni is very active. Previously, I was also in the Norwegian alumni because I did my master's from Norway, but later I switched to Japanese alumni. So we have very good relationship, and every programs we used to celebrate together. So it was started, I think, a few years back. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。他にバタライさんにご質問ある方いらっしゃいますか？大丈夫ですかね。はい、バタライさん、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
続きまして、イギリスのジョシアさんの発表です。それではジョシアさん、お願いいたします。
すみません、発表させていただいて誠に光栄です。英語で発表させていただきますので、通訳の方もよろしくお願いします。Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Gallagher. I am from the British Association of Mixed Scholars, also known as BAMS, which sounds a lot more exciting than it actually is. We are a very small group of about 8 committee members. A bit about myself to begin with. So I went first in Akita Kokusai Kyoyo Daigaku International University, 2013, then at University of Tsukuba, working then after that at the WHO Kobe Center, and lastly I now work at the Cabinet Office in the UK. And this photo with Abe Akie Soridaijin, Moto Soridaijin Fujin, was taken around 2016 when I was first at Tsukuba. So yes, we're about 8 or 9 executive committee members, including myself, with a total of 457 scholars, which roughly accounts for about 7 scholars a year. Of these, 190 are currently what we would call active members, although of course there have been some members who have died previously, so the number of living scholars is quite a lot lower than that. And you can see a basic age distribution here, as we see the majority being born in 1990 to 1999 currently. But this is only from a small sample of 63 participants, which naturally means that it is skewed to the younger members. Occupation-wise, I mean, this is from an internal survey which the embassy very kindly conducted for us. We have the majority of being academics or professors at university, other postdoctoral academics, qualified professionals, and business. And certainly in the business sector is largely to do with UK-Japan trade links. This is a very, very long graph, but it just shows also as well the diversity of occupations. Thinking specifically about activities relating to Japan, we know that the majority are working in either Japanese language, culture, education, or exchange, which is a very broad topic, but essentially means also Japanese studies and Japanese language tuition. We do also have quite a lot of our alumni working in Japan, and we try and maintain links with those currently stationed out there. And lastly is also the notable column, which is business relations with Japan, so particularly trade partnerships with the major collaborations between Japanese and UK companies. So really today I want to talk a bit about our approach to how we can try and maximize engagement. And this is what's called the EAST framework, which is a behavioral science framework that we often use in government, and we've been applying this within our organization over the past year or so. So I myself am very new to the organization, having joined about 2 years ago, and I'm currently working on external affairs, but also looking to drive through some of the change with our other committee members. So we try and make our engagement easy, attractive, social, timely. So starting with how we try and make it easy, so easy being kantan ni. We try and reduce friction, so we always try and get people on our WhatsApp community as the first stage. So I'll talk a bit about our recruitment later on. We have distinct areas of interest that you can see on the right, for example, particularly focusing on careers, on finance, on education, and we also have BAMS in Japan now for our support for BAMS members who are in Japan at the moment. We try and maintain formal contact after return to the UK, so we try and get the data on their email addresses and get in contact with them. And we try also have it so that there's less friction in having low commitment participation options. So even if you are participating, in some cases you don't have to do a great deal, could just be a little bit. So next is attractive, miyokuteki ni. We try and show just how valuable it is to be part of the BAMS network. So very much we try and showcase the professional network aspect. So here is an event that we ran recently, which was Alumni to Entrepreneur. So we had a panel session with individuals who are MEX alumni who are leading Japan-related ventures in the UK. And we basically gave career advice. We also tried to foster business connections from the Japanese embassy. So here we really just try and give recognition and visibility to the very successful scholars who've gone on to do things, but also try and give meaningful roles in events to other alumni. So the important thing here is really just showing the benefit of membership, which we find to be quite a good way to do this, and publicizing this at every point. Next of all is social, shakaiteki ni. So we have, particularly using peer influence, so relying on invitations. So every contact that we have in a year group cohort, they will be able to invite people from their year group, and that we try and get people to get in contact with people that they know from the scholarship. And this has been particularly important in the lack of data that we have. So we also try and show off what our members do. So here on the right is a newsletter that we put out in collaboration with the Japanese embassy. So this is really an interview of an anthropologist who's been working in Nagano. And it also gives them a chance to publicize their research and kind of disseminate their research activities as academics. Cross-generational engagement is also very important. So getting people from different countries to, from different age groups to come along to our members' meetings is very important and something which we really strive to do because as we see before, that it was just mainly people born in the 1990s who are most engaged currently. Timely, so tekisetsu no taimingu ni, we try and make sure that particularly at critical points, we try and intervene and invite people to BAMS. So we have a very strong presence in the pre-departure orientations, which take place at the embassy. we will add them to our LinkedIn group, typically, and also to our WhatsApp group. So we just try not to lose them before they go off into Japan. We offer support while they're out there. We offer to connect them with other alumni who are currently in Japan. And then we try and have a follow-up within 3 months of their return back. But obviously this is dependent on what information we have. Lastly is the career stage targeted content. So naturally when they come back to the UK, they're going to be focusing on applying for jobs and looking for some form of either academic or business relations. So we try and target kind of job advertisements on our LinkedIn site. So we try and do this most strongly during periods of change. So we also try and work as best as we can with other organizations. So I mean, particularly here, I must say we benefit the most from our connection with the Japanese embassy, in particular Michiko Ward-san, who has been incredibly helpful in all of our goings-on at BAMS. So particularly we work with the JET Alumni Association on an informal level, and the GB Sasakawa Foundation, Japan Foundation, and Japan Society. And it's very interesting because, I mean, certainly on this next slide, this is a recent embassy event. All of these organizations are represented here. So this was for the British Association of Japanese Studies. And I can see many of the people who are in, for example, the Daiwa Foundation, but the current director working in Daiwa Foundation was formerly a MEC scholar. So it's a very close network of individuals working together. We also try and engage a bit more on the diplomacy front. So here was us at the 80th anniversary for the bombing of Hiroshima, which took place in Westminster Abbey. So we try and maintain a strong public presence in diplomatic events. Also, this is through our alumni who have gone on into more diplomatic roles. So challenges and next steps. I think the main challenge, which is I can see is something similar that people have touched on today, which is about kind of data and having a shared database of who has been on the scholarship. So the legislation since 2018 has made it particularly hard on that front. The embassy wants to share details about scholars, but is in many cases completely unable to. So that we have to kind of make that database ourselves and curate that database. But fortunately, we can meet with the Japanese embassy and discuss and say, here is who we think, that we have on the scholarship. Can we check, are these names okay? Keenly as well, we're looking to achieve financial sustainability. We've recently become a community interest company as of this year, I can happily say. So we now do have our own financial independence and bank accounts, but we're looking to develop programs potentially also to keep people speaking Japanese through language class provision. And lastly, we just hope to really build on our network, which is really a great thing about being here today, and deepen collaboration with other international communities. We've already got, as I see, a European contingent going on, but hopefully making those networks into more stronger lasting relationships. Thank you very much. And this is just a few members of our committee.
ジェシアさん、ありがとうございます。日本と留学生会の関係維持強化にさまざまな工夫をされていることが分かりました。ジョシアさんの発表についてパキスタンのヤサルさんからコメントを述べていただきます。よろしくお願いします。
Very nice presentation, very well developed, very well presented, and very well articulated, I must say. So I have a few questions that popped up in my mind while listening to your presentation. So what are the key motivators? You see, when, for example, from Pakistan, when we were headed to the Japanese scholarship, a lot of people would scare us with the thought that, for example, we would be better off going to some country which is English speaking. But at least we have learned English as a foreign language. But the British, I don't think, learn English, even English as a foreign language. So it must be a daunting thought to go to, study in a place so different. So what's the key motivators which British students have when they come to Japan to study?
I think in terms of motivation, there certainly is that the very point that you just identified, that it is completely different and there's no formal connection. I mean, typically the people that we talk with about their motivations, it'll usually be cultural aspects. So increasingly, as part of the interviews, anime and manga and that kind of Japanese soft power has really come into reasons as to why. We do also have some very kind of niche, so focusing particularly on art and just general cultural engagement. That seems to be the stronger thing. It's very rare that we actually go from the language, because Japanese language provision in UK schools is nothing compared to other countries. So we do try and motivate people based on kind of their cultural engagement.
But like when you showed the groups, I tried to zoom into the dates, and I took a picture of that. So there wasn't a group focused particularly on culture or manga. So do you think that it could play a better role at activating the alumni for more active engagements if it were based on their initial motivations when they were headed to Japan? If there could be some groups related to that, or is that kind of like, because there were only few groups that you showed here, maybe there already are?
So we haven't had anything formally in that way yet. I think the really difficult thing in terms of making sure which groups we have is that we don't want to kind of alienate different groups. We have a strong academic core, certainly, who just would like to just have networking events to, talk about their research, meet other people, and then we kind of have more of an informal side, which I think is probably where that could go in. But I think, yeah, that's an interesting idea.
So, and I was interested in seeing that, the problems seem to be similar problem which we all have. The committee group is the most active one, and the rest of them you probably have to push to make active. Is that so? So another thing which occurred to me is that being in your position in the cabinet office now, and I know a number of other Japanese alumni who are working with the British government, and including, do you know people here at the embassy in British consulate here who are also Max alumni? There are some.
Not familiar. I've just recently joined the cabinet office, but
Right.
I'm aware of the work of the embassy.
Are there any mechanisms available, because the British government itself has a lot of mechanisms, like for the Commonwealth and others. So for people in Britain to collaborate across Europe or within Britain, there are several funding programs and stuff available. So are there any mechanisms available? And if not, what kind of mechanisms could be created, and could we have some ideas for the MOFA as well? Yeah.
There are certainly other mechanisms for, particularly around arts. So one area of this work is in the Daiwa Foundation, who will fund a lot of the kind of research to do that. We are yet to be at the stage where we can provide additional funding, but that's something that we're looking to get towards.
Not just through the society, but for example, government-to-government collaborations or agreements, for example, are there any mechanisms between the UK and Japan in which they would fund, you could say, researchers to fly from the UK to Britain or something like that, or to do joint research?
I'm not aware of any formalized route at the moment.
None of them yet. So maybe this could be one takeaway, that if more collaboration is what is intended, if there could be programs where people, Japanese graduates, could collaborate with MOFA or with people here in Japan through a mechanism provided by MOFA, that could really help us, further the cause of alumni engagement. Thank you.
Thank you.
安原さんありがとうございます。他に吉田さんに対して、はい、天田さんお願いします。
Joshua, thanks so much. It looks, all of us are very interested in having the orientation pre-departure from wherever we are. And then when the participants come back, we also do the what you call entry into the country. But between the pre-departure and coming back, there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether any of us, not only you, but any of us, do have any links there where, because going and getting to them, you've sort of created an avenue for them to have discussions with you if they have issues. But we don't utilize that. We only utilize it when they come back, where we tell them what is happening. I was wondering whether that huge gap in the middle, are we using it to sort of create the, I don't want to say sustain the what they call alumni, but definitely when they understand further and see the benefits and things that they had, they work hard to keep it going. So I've just been wondering. We certainly don't do it, and I don't know what others also think, but I just wanted to find out from you. Is there any avenue for them to?
Thank you. Yes, no, I think there is an avenue, and certainly I think there is, I feel a bit of a responsibility to the people who are already out there. I think as well, in the cases of people who are going out for their undergraduate degree, they're very young, it can be quite a lonely time.
Yes.
don't speak the language. You may have a 6-month course which can really help you prepare, but it can still be difficult. We do have a WhatsApp group for that. We also are fortunate to have one of our committee members present in Tokyo who lives there. So we do have a kind of short-term way of providing some support if necessary. But it's something that I think we could definitely do more of, and I think we should do more of.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, you are what do you call it, at an advantage because you are in the WhatsApp group era. Those of us who were not in that area was difficult, but I think it's something that we should utilize. Thank you.
Thank you.
他に質問ある方いらっしゃいますか？大丈夫ですか？はい、ありがとうございます。ジョシュアさん、ありがとうございました。続きまして、エチオピアのイサイアスさんの発表です。イサイアスさん、よろしくお願いいたします。
Good afternoon. So I'll be giving a presentation on achievements and challenges in maintaining and strengthening ties between Japan and Japan Alumni Association. Our association is called JES, Japan Ethiopian Alumni Society. So I was here in Tokyo for my master's study in 2003. In Komaba campus, University of Tokyo, and then continued my PhD at the Hongo campus until 2008, and I had a chance to work for 1 year in Japan as a researcher at the University of Tokyo. Since my return, I have been engaged in teaching, research, and consultancy to the industry in Ethiopia. I have served as an academic leader, as a vice president for the Addis Ababa University. So this is a little bit of my career after I returned to Ethiopia. Perhaps you may not know about Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is located on Higashi Africa, the north part of Africa. I came from a very high altitude where most of the country is above 2,000 meters above sea level. We have around 120 to 130 million people, of which majority are young. Around 70% is young people. So you can think of the power of education which can play in this. So JES, the Japan Ethiopian Alumni, was established in October 23, 2012. We have mainly scholars from different backgrounds in engineering, medicine, and in the area of social science, including arts, management, business, and economics. So it's mainly an academic environment. This is the first time when the alumni was established. At that time, the president of the alumni was actually the ambassador of Ethiopia here in Japan, Ambassador Mahdi. So that was the starting point, and this was the meeting when we first started the alumni. The main objectives, as we all have seen, is to foster and promoting culture, research, and education. I'm not the president of JES, but I'm responsible for coordinating culture promotion. So I lead the culture part. Promoting collaboration between universities, strengthen the impact of scholars educated in Japan in the societal development of Ethiopia, cooperation with Japan Embassy in strengthening the returned Japanese government scholarship alumni network conducted by CHES. So these are some of the activities that we do in terms of cooperation in strengthening the returned Japanese government scholars. This is a mixed reception where when the returned scholars, we receive them, we try to share our experience, what to expect after they return, because that's also another experience after returning back to Ethiopia. So this is something. And similarly for the ABE initiative beneficiaries, we do the same reception. In 2024, this is on May. And on May 2025, we did together for MEXT and ABE initiative. I think the context in Africa and in Ethiopia is a bit different from what we have in the other countries, because students, they hunt for scholarships. They hunt for various opportunities because they don't have those opportunities. So there is a very rare chance to go to Japan, and it's very competitive. It's good in the sense that the alumni who come to Japan are very good, excellent, but it's also not good because the number is limited. So this is, again, this is every November. We do this Japan Culture Day event together with the embassy. And you see this is the booth for the MEXT scholarship. We try to promote, we try to create awareness to the university students. What's about MEXT scholarship? What does it mean to learn in Japan? What are the expectations when they study in Japan, and so on and so forth? Because when I was a student back in 2000 or end of 1999, at that time, most students are so much inclined to the Western education. So students mainly join German, US, and so on and so forth. Because of these interventions, the interest going to Japan is significantly growing, actually. I will explain this later. And this is, in the Culture Day, like a manga drawing competition. This is inside the university, Addis Ababa University. We try to get these in-kind resources through the alumni so that we get these facilities from the universities where the alumni reside in the universities. And this is Ambassador Shibata. So these are alumni members in the Addis Ababa University where these two activities are being done. And we also carry out film festivals. Probably you may know Godzilla -1, Go Panda, Panda Go Panda, and other animes. So we do this every November in the film festivals to create more awareness to promote the Japanese culture to different communities within Addis Ababa, mainly. And in 2025, through the support of former MEXT scholars, the festival was held at Addis Ababa University. Mainly our engagements are Jinka and Arbamich University. These are very remote areas to the southern part of the country due to the outbreak of Marburg outbreak. And we also conduct some academic conferences on Ethiopian studies, this specific event. So this kind of conferences mainly are aimed at creating networking among the Japanese alumni. So many professors from different universities who studied in Japan were invited to this conference, and then we tried to create networking among this. And this is events in the Emperor's birthday. Thanks to the Japanese embassy, the Japanese embassy allots large number of seats to our alumni, so we can enjoy the communication, networking, also the sushi. Yeah. This is very interesting because last year we did an orientation at the university. So these are students who are looking for some opportunities abroad. And previously, the applicants to the mixed scholarship were around 150. This is the data 2 years ago. After this event, this surged a lot. This is nearly 5-6 times, where the applicants were 968. So creating awareness is really crucial. Of course, this is a huge challenge to the embassy for the screening of the beneficiaries. It will become very tough to screen, but at the same time, it will give opportunity to get the best students coming to the scholarship. So as JES, we try to help the screening process because of this large number of students. What we do is, during the interview, we participate and we try to evaluate together with the Japanese embassy staff and JICA staff. We contribute from a unique perspective, evaluating their research themes, assessing whether Ethiopian candidates can successfully live in Japan, looking at their character, motivation, and so on and so forth. And also, for those who are selected, before they depart to Japan, we try to share our experience, what to expect, at least. And this is a Japanese class, Japanese language. We used to have at one of the universities and at Addis Ababa University. These were the two universities where the Japanese language was going on. Unfortunately, after the COVID outbreak, the one at Addis Ababa University was stopped. Now we are planning to relaunch it again so that Japanese language will be injected to the linguistics department with a very small credit so that it can be sustained. So we are at the negotiation stage with the university. This is graduation of Japanese language students at AU before it was closed. And when some VIPs visit Addis, like in this case a parliamentarian of Japan came and we had a very interesting discussion on how to strengthen collaboration between Ethiopian academics and research institutes. So, and tomorrow we will have an open lecture. These are very relevant lectures. This is about peace building and trying to share the experiences of Japan from Hiroshima, a professor from University of Tokyo. So such kind of events are very useful for the entire community. And challenge, as my colleagues have mentioned, for me, the greatest challenge is how to make most of the JES members active, because it's like the Pareto, like only 20% are active. So this is some to work with, and how we can bring most of the members to participate. So this is some of the challenge. Resource constraints. I don't see this as a major constraint, but it's a constraint. But the first one is, and again, how to create a system, regardless of the leader, regardless of the committee members. It's very important to create a system so that this just can flourish and grow gradually. And we have a very strong support from the embassy, very strong, push us when we get weaker. So this is very important. So I'm very thankful for that. So in order to make sure that the active members, particularly the new entries to the alumni, are very active. But the leaders are the old generation. So now we are trying to revitalize just so that we can replace with the young and active members. As concluding remarks, I think Ethiopia and Japan, they are deeply rooted in a very long history. So we would like to foster well-founded, lasting partnership for mutual benefit of both nations. And we try to create more impact using the Japanese life experience, education quality, and cultural richness to drive Ethiopian development. I'm saying this, most of the Japanese scholars who studied in Japan go back to Ethiopia. This is very important because in other countries, they don't go back majorly. They go back and we can witness their impact. So, okay, somebody, oh, you studied in Japan. So it's being attached to the quality of the delivery that they are making in the country. So this is a really good point where we are trying to witness the greater impact of those alumni in the development. I'm saying this because we have very limited scholars. So every graduate has a huge impact on the development of the country, even a single person. A program can be closed or opened because of the presence of this professor or not. So the impact is so huge, and we're really thankful for the contributions that you are making. So I will say Japanese collaboration is unique as it emphasizes on the following 4 key aspects. Number 1, deeply society-oriented, addressing real community challenges with long-term community for success. Because the engagement is directly to the society, and I know there are so many grassroots projects changing the lives of many, particularly in the remote areas. Deeply rooted in cultural emphasis and harmony. Trust. I explained that trust because as the early beneficiary of the Japanese scholarship, we feel so much responsible to send highly competent and fit students because it will affect us again. So this is something we highly emphasize on. So we try to be trustworthy, and because of the trust that we earned or got from the Japanese government. It's use-focused, as I said earlier. So I will say, in Japanese, I will try to say that, Jis to watashi wa ikiru shonan de ari, kore ga Ethiopia to Africa ni hitsuyou na mono da to omoimasu. Nihon no moto kokuhiri, yugakusei ha Ethiopia no shi, yakkai teki na hatten ni okiku kenshite imasu. Nihon to Nihon no hitabito ni kansha. Through JES, we will continue to further strengthen this unique partnership between Ethiopia and Japan. I thank you so much.
イサイヤさん、ありがとうございました。イサイヤさんの発表についてスイスのサンチさんからコメントをいただきます。サンチさん、お願いします。
はい、ありがとうございます。ご発表どうもありがとうございました。It was very interesting to hear, especially the timeline you painted from when you started to where the field is now. And so my question, I think, goes regarding the future, how you see maybe not just the number of students changing, but even the goals into which we educate students in connection to Japan. We have technical development, we have environmental sustainability, we have social goals, we have the question of AI, I think, which occupies us all. And so I'm wondering if, based on the current student body, you see some patterns where the field will navigate towards the future. Thank you.
サンチさん、ありがとうございます。他に質問ある方いらっしゃいますか？
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. So that's a very complex question, actually. So this is what we are doing now. So looking into the future. As I said earlier, we're planting leaders of each of the disciplines. Because, for example, when I returned back, probably I was the third person in the civil engineering department, who studied in Japan. The way we are trained here is to be researchers. I really appreciate the research culture in Japan. As much as I can, I have tried to contribute in that line because previously our focus as Ethiopia was to educate people, not to research. But these returnees are doing an excellent research, contextually excellent when I say, given the context of the country, in each of the respective lines. So when someone graduates in AI, leading that kind of research. So this is how we are trying, because we are at the infancy stage, but we are on the right direction, I believe. So this is what we are trying to do. Thank you. Thank you.
If it's okay, I'm going to add another experience that we had regarding the training of Japanese language. You mentioned that it's one of the challenges that we keep up the Japanese fluency, right, of the language. And I think I also heard it with other presenters today. What I didn't talk about in my presentation, but what I would like to offer now is the idea of like a monthly meeting where previous exchange students meet informally to have a Hanasu no Kai, a Japanese language study meeting. This is something we started practicing at the Japanese embassy, and for us it's been providing quite a successful model. So I just wanted to share that.
So much.
ありがとうございます。他に質問ある方いらっしゃいますか？はい、ジェシアさんお願いします。
興味深いアピありがとうございました。My question, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment really, which is that I think when you're asking before about motivators, something that we found very helpful is nostalgia. As just kind of reflecting back on those times and giving a chance for people to kind of feed into that. I think that can really help bring people back to particular events that people have been. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
他にイサイアスさんに質問ある方いらっしゃいますか？
Yeah. So, as we were discussing, as a little bit of I touched in my presentation and more in our discussion. So, coming to Japan already has a very daunting aspect for the people that they're coming into a very different culture. They're coming into a very different language, and especially when students are going to learn something new, language as a medium in which they'll have to communicate with their researchers, their fellow researchers, does take one does get concerned that will we be able to perform in research or something. So are there any activities on your side to motivate new students? As you said that, the input is most important. So how do you make sure that the best talent in your country, when they would pick Japan as their destination rather than any English-speaking country or another destination which they might consider easier?
Yes. So this is actually what's changing. Because like 2 decades ago, if you give a student an opportunity to go to Western countries and Japan, definitely they pick the Western countries. Because the awareness was very low. But now this is changing. Because we knew that it's because of the lack of awareness that they are trying to go for the easy in terms of not the education, but for the life. But now they see so many people in their respective universities who are successful Japanese alumni. So they see those professors as their role model, and they're trying to change this preset selection. So now they try to fairly evaluate. Okay, where should I go? So this is something which is changing.
Another aspect of the same question, to look at it the other way, we have some European professors sitting here.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they're sitting in Europe, they must be trying to get good students in Europe to come and study over there. right? So, and of course, they have a good quality of education as well.
Yes.
So, do you think that there could be, in order to promote the education in Japan, there could be some sort of a mechanism in which to build a bridge using people? Because if people already have affinity towards Europe, so how to build a bridge between Japanese people, Japanese graduates or Japanese alumni who are working in Europe, and with the Japanese counterpart universities here, and maybe the African, continent, because I know that Africa has a very well-organized structure in higher education. Having met the chairperson for the, the African Union of Universities and everything, so I know that you have a very strong network. So, is there a mechanism or something, or is one conceived for Japan or for East Asia?
Not so far that I know, not so far, but this will be a very helpful approach, because this will help them see, okay, some of the scholars who studied, particularly from Europe, who studied in Japan, if they can share their experience to our students, that will be even much more helpful. And thank you for the comment.
Thank you.
Yes.
I guess I just want to have a little comment also. We've had the exposure to the European and the American group for maybe 200 years. We know a lot of it. The Japanese environment came in at that time, but then we gradually built in the confidence, right? And so it borders on what they know about the educational system. And I think that is what we're trying to do as a group when we are at home. And I tell you, in the African context, role models are very, very important. What they see is really what they want to do. And they come with an inquisitive mind, trying to get some more information. And as we grow, I'll talk about my country tomorrow, but I know that about 80% of the graduates from the Japanese universities work in academia.
Yes.
And they grow up to become vice chancellors, they become role models, and everybody wants to be like that. And so that is really what is driving it. And I think as long as we keep that, virtue of living the way we got to know in Japan, being modest and being truthful and getting that, feeling, everybody wants to be like that. So that's exactly what it is.
I think this is very insightful, and this brings a very strong new input for which can be an output for this seminar. That you see, the success of the graduates when they go back to their country and how well the alumni are doing is the key motivator for the next good students to pick Japan as their destination of education. So there must be some mechanism or approach in order to keep supporting the alumni who have already graduated and are working in their countries in their professional capacities, because that's what will get Japan the best of the scholars in the future years when we want to get other good or foreign students into Japanese universities.
Yes. Right. Yeah, this is really important, because students, particularly all over the world, at least in Africa, they see their instructors, they see their mentors. And the next thing they ask is, where did Stephanie study? Where did somebody study? And they try to associate those things with the background of their education. And when I was a student, particularly in the engineering department where I was, everybody is doctor engineer. They're from Germany. We used to call them made in Germany. So there was a strong influence of the Germany. Even when I tried to go to Japan, I was contemplating about these two, going to Germany or going to Japan. I needed a different experience, so I went. But this created a new direction. After I came to Japan, I also had the chance to send some of my students. Now they are faculty members. And this is growing. I was listing all the faculty members we have who studied in Japan. And now, something must be special about Japanese education. This is what's coming to the mind of our students. So now, at least they can decide on an informed basis. Yeah, thank you.
スイスのサンチさんお願いします。
はい、ありがとうございます。I 100% agree with you, and I would like to add one thing that I've been discussing in the context of preparing for next week's Japanese studies panel presenting on, which is the Japanese language. I think learning it teaches the students some skills they don't get learning another language because it's so multi-layered with the kanji, with the different levels of politeness. I think this is something unique about Japan, and if we transmit to our students that they can learn these qualities, learning Japanese, being immersed in the Japanese context, I think that can be really valuable, especially, and here I come back to the transformation of the educational system by AI. We now have easy translators, but we still feel with Japanese it's not quite easy to use them, right? So I think this is really important to also stress that this struggle that we go through. I think someone mentioned this modesty or truthfulness, and maybe also perseverance that we learn regarding the Japanese language.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
他に質問は大丈夫そうですか。はい、ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ここまで第2セッションのテーマについて3名の方からプレゼンいただきましたが、オンラインでご参加いただいている、トンガの照垣さんいらっしゃいますか。照垣さんいらっしゃいましたら、トンガの照垣さんちょっと今いらっしゃらないようですので、先に人物交流室の小室室長からコメントをいただきたいと思います。小室室長、よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、ありがとうございます。今日は、先ほどテーマが、日本と元留学生、帰国留学生会とのつながり維持強化に向けた課題ということで、プレゼンをしていただきました。若干もう午前中にすでに他の、グループとのそのコラボレーションなどについても、少し話がありましたけれども、今回、いろいろちょっと見ながらお話ししたいと思いますが、最初にその、全くのコメントですけど、ネパールからの留学が1902年から始まっていると、非常に長い歴史を持っておられるということが大変印象的でございまして、先ほどちょっとその本も記録も実は頂戴いたしました。そういった記録を残すということがまずは素晴らしい試みだと思いますので、大変ありがたく思います。そしてこの、ジュアン以外にもいろいろなところがすでに JICA さん AOTS さんのアルミニがあって協力している中で、将来的にこういったそのストラテジック戦略的なプラットフォームですね、ジャパン・ネパール・アルミニ・ストラテジック・プラットフォームということで、戦略的に、一緒にやっていくというビジョンもお示しいただいたのが良かったのかなと思います。で、すでにある団体を解散するという意味ではなくて、それぞれの団体はそれぞれ経験値が近い人同士で集まりたいこともあるでしょうし、でもそれを超えて日本というエレメントでつながっていただくことも追求していっていただきたいなと思っていて、まさに私どもがなんていうんでしょうか、望んでいる、求めている、期待している形をこの今のこの Way Forward 2で示していただいたと思いますので、大変ありがたく思います。本当に引き続き頑張ってください いうことですね。そして、はい、イギリスのジョシュアさんもこの何ですか、この印鑑ついてるの皆さん分かりますよね。この赤い、これがそちらの在英帰国留学生協会の印鑑を作っておられるということで、大変日本愛の強さがよく分かりました。そしてコアメンバーの方と、それからジェネレーションがいろいろある中でどうつながっていくかっていうなんていうんでしょうか、課題も示していただきましたけれども、このイーストのアプローチも非常に興味深いですし、このバムズで、バムズってすごい今日本人のその若い人風に言いますと、バムズのいろんなキャリアとかアカデミックとか、そのファイナンス、いろいろな関心を明示的にグルーピングして、でなんていうんでしょうか、アプローチしたい対象ターゲットになんていうんですかね、アピールするっていうか、そういうアプローチも非常に興味深くて、なんていうんでしょう、今回その集まった皆様が学ぶ、真似する、活用する方法を提示していただいたのかなと思っております。で、とにかくやっぱりなんて言うんでしょうか、大使館を交えながらイベントをしていくというか、大使館とのつながりを引き続きこうして持っていっていただくということが大切だし、何分そのファイナンシャルサステナビリティっていうのが多分どの団体においても課題であり、政府もなかなか予算の問題がありますから、民間の力を活用してやっていくことが大変重要になるのかなと思います。で、今エチオピアのイサイヤスさんが発表してくださったことにつきましても、写真もたくさん入っていて、いろいろなことをされているんだなということがよく分かりましたし、最後の皆様のディスカッションの中で出てきた昔はやっぱりそのヨーロッパ欧州に関心を持つ学生が多かったところに、日本での経験をされた方々が特にアカデミックの世界に戻られて、で大学で教えていく中で学生さんたちがそれをまさにロールモデルとしてなんていうんでしょうか、受け止めて、じゃあ日本に行ってみようかな、日本をポジティブに捉えるモデルが実際にいるということが、やっぱりその今の学生さんたちに良いインセンティブというか与えることにもなるし、そうするとできたらやっぱり彼らが戻ってきた時に自分たちの後輩 NEXT generation がその自分たちの後をこう歩んでもらうっていうことのためにいろいろなんていうんでしょうか、活動をしてくれるのかなと。だからそういういいサイクルがその今のエチオピアのところでできてきているんだなということを認識いたしました。そして留学生、文部科学省留学生の選考にもご協力いただいているということで、そうすると実際にどういうリクワイアメントっていうかクオリフィケーションがある学生さんが必要なのかっていうことも分かって選考に貢献していただけるのかなと思いました。それで、皆様のお話を伺ってすぐにねできるかどうかっていうのは別として 2つちょっとお話ししたいことがあって、これもそんなオフィシャルなプロポーザルでは全然ないんですけれども、私どもが例えば講師を派遣するっていうようななんていうんですか、機会があったりするんですね。なので多分これまで帰国留学生会の方がやるイベントがこうで、そこにこういう講師を送るみたいなことはあんまりやっていなかったのかなと。でも何かでいっぺんに皆さんのところに送ることはできないとしても、私どももちょっと意識的にもしかしたらその活動の中でイベントをする、日本から講師、もうすでに実際に皆様やってらっしゃるんですけれども、いろいろな形で講師の、日本からの講師の方、アカデミックな方とかいるんですが、ちょっとそういう目で今後こうなんていうの、コミュニケーションをしていくということは意味があるのかな。今ここでこうやって集まってお話をさせていただいた中で、今後につなげるなんか一つのきっかけになったのかなということを一つ思いました。それから帰国留学生アカデミックな世界とはちょっと違う話をします。うちの部屋ではスポーツ交流というのもやっていて、これは特に東京2020の五輪オリンピック・パラリンピックを誘致するときに、日本でできるんだったらこういうスポーツのいろんなことをやりますよということで、スポーツ・フォー・トゥモローっていう官民のプラットフォームがあって、やったりしてるんですけれども、最近ちょっとその中で面白いなと思って出てきたのが駅伝というものがあります。さっきハーフマラソンの話をされましたよね。駅伝っていうのが日本でありまして、昔はその東海道をこうなんていう一人で全部走るのは無理なんで、何人かが分けてこう順番に走っていく。で日本はいろんなのがあるんですけども、すごく有名なのが箱根駅伝、お正月にあるんですけれども、それをですね、今イギリスで元ジェットの方がそれを日経新聞と、ファイナンシャル・タイムズかな、働きかけてイギリスで駅伝をやるようになって、でオックスフォードの辞書にも駅伝が載ったっていうことで、その日本の文化って、なんて部屋の中でする文化だけではなくて、そういったスポーツの駅伝、ハーフマラソンされるっておっしゃったんで、駅伝というものもあって、実は4月にインドであるんですよ、初めての駅伝が。インドが来年国交樹立70周年なのかな。で今年そのプレイベントとして大使館と、現地の日本の駐在会社ですねが一緒になって駅伝をやると。でチームに日本人とインド人の方が入っていれば、あとは他に誰が入っていてもいいみたいな形でいくつかチームを作って駅伝をやるということを聞いています。したがってハーフマラソンもありますけれども、駅伝っていう日本の文化もこうやってみるのも面白いですし、それから最近そのスポーツの関係で民間の財団がやっているお話で、甲子園ってご存知ですか？野球の甲子園。甲子園文化をASEAN に持っていくっていうことで活動しておられる方がいるんですね。でそれどういうことかなと思って聞いてみたら、甲子園っていうのは単に野球をやるだけではなくて、時間に間に合うようにチームの人たちが来て、で並んで、そしてその応援団がいて、で野球をやってる中で選手交代って言った時に、歩いていくんじゃなくて走ってピシッと走って選手交代するみたいなことも含めて 甲子園文化を伝えたい。でそれは何かっていうと今度野球を野球といってもそのクラブチームなんですけどね、やった人たちが目指すものとして甲子園文化を伝えたいと言っても、元野球選手の方が他のいろんな野球人の方々をですね巻き込んで今そういう取り組みをしていると。でそれに最近スポーツ庁長官賞感謝状を送ったんですけれども、なんかいろいろなアクティビティの中でそういったなんて言うんでしょうね、新しい日本の文化を伝えるっていうのも面白いのかなと。エチオピアであればもう本当にアベベじゃないんですけれどもマラソンではもう世界でもうトップランナーですけど、駅伝文化もですね、もしかしたらそういうのをイベントの一つとしてなんかやることで盛り上げるためにちょっと活用できるかもしれないなと思いましたのでちょっとご紹介をいたしました。ちょっと若干それましたけれどもすでにいろいろな形で現地に帰国留学生会以外の方々もいらっしゃって、でさまざまな形で一緒に何かをやるっていうきっかけが今回来てですねさらにきっかけを、持ってもらうというか持って帰ってもらうことになれば私どもとしては非常にありがたいと思っております。長くなりましたけれど以上です。
小室室長ありがとうございました。はい、春馬さんお願いいたします。
Thank you very, very much. You hit on some of the points that, because in my university, I also been part of the sports directorate. From my experiences in Osaka. In Osaka, we had a soccer team, we called it Champon, mixture. And we used to play in the league, and so I'm also part of sports. Most of the African countries, I'll take my country for instance, when I was growing up, the life expectancy was about 40 years. Over now, the males is about 66 to almost 70. So you can see the aging, all right? Japan is being in an aging society for a long time. And so they have some experience in sports for the elderly. Sports for the elderly. And this is for good wellness and everything. And I think this is something that can be looked at, where we can motivate some of the new coaches and people who are going to think about sports for the elderly. They are not thinking about that now. And so we can sometimes screw some of the scholarships and some of the things to cater for these ones specifically. And then we as alumni, knowing the field and knowing everything, can really get people who can help. Because if you are able to do that, good health, you help the economy of the country also, because people don't get paid so many things and that. And then the other thing that you talked about at Ethiopia, yes, Ethiopia is known as one of the real movers of marathon and good health. But there are alumni in Ethiopia who are probably also associated with that. And as we said, the alumni is not cooperating on the African continent, on the European continent. Is it possible, maybe as part of the, they're like killing two birds with one stone, encouraging the alumni to work together by linking up with alumni in country A and country B to work together to solve a problem. And we could do that also with sports. Yes. It's very, very simple. It can be done with sports. It comes in on that, a little bit of a sponsorship and organization, but then that is what it is. So there are doable things that can be done. And I think I want to put some of these things forward to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Komuro-san, for your suggestion. I just want to add one thing. Maybe when we'll go back, maybe I will discuss on the Ikeden. If we can do this half marathon into Ikiden, then it will be very good. Thank you for your suggestion. Maybe I will go back and let's think, we can do or not, and if possible, we'll try to have this Ikiden. Thank you.
ここで、もう一度オンラインのトンガのテレカキさんにお声掛けしてみようと思うんですけど、トンガのテレカキさん、今いらっしゃいますか？いらっしゃらないですかね。はい。他に本セッションでコメントや意見とある方いらっしゃいますか？
May I?
お願いします。
どうもありがとうございます。駅伝についていろいろ何か新しいアイディア出てきました。基本に私たちは何か日本スポーツの方を考えると、柔道とか合気道とか剣道とか出てきますね。でも駅伝は全然そういうふうに考えたことがなかったんですね。駅伝以外に日本の新しい文化に何かいろいろ何かこういうのことがあるのかなと考えてますね。何かアイディアがあればぜひ教えてください。駅伝以外に何か学生たちに日本文化として教えることができるんですか？日本の新しい文化の中から。推し活で。
推し活、なんか好きなアイドルとか映画のアクターとかを応援しに行って、そこでなんか仲良くなったり友情が生まれたり、ファン同士でも友情があったりして、なんか同じ好きなものを好きな人同士がこう集まって仲良くするっていう若者で、結構推し活やってます。はい。
それですね。はい。
新しくないですけれども、2つ、ラジオ体操って知ってますか？知らない。知らないですか？日本にラジオ体操。ラジオ体操といって、これはだから第二次大戦、戦争が終わってからだと思うんですけど、その前じゃないと思うんですけれども、要は体を鍛えるための体操なんです。で、昔はラジオでそれが流れて合わせて踊る。で、今だと NHK の朝とか昼とかにそれが流れて3分ぐらいなんです。で、昔は日本では小学校で夏休みに朝近くの公園でラジオ体操をしに行くと、スタンプ、例えば10回行ったらスタンプ押してもらって、最後になんかもらうみたいな、朝ラジオ体操に行くっていうのが昔の子どもたちはあったんです。で、私はブラジルに2回ぐらいね、仕事で行ってますけど、住んでますけど、ブラジルではラジオ体操がものすごく流行ってるというか、普及している、ディセミネートしているというか、普及していて、ラジオ体操連盟もあって、で学生の時にブラジルのサンパウロで地下鉄出たら、白い服を着て、体操服を着た人たちがラジオ体操をしていて、ここはどこなんだろうと思ったようなこともありましたし、自分の総領事館の仕事で行ってラジオ体操連盟のなんか大会に行って挨拶するみたいなのがあったんです。で、これは子供の時やっても何の効果も感じないんです。今やると感じるんです。いろんな場所を効率的に動かして鍛える。 だからラジオ体操をみんなでやったらですね、これは日本の文化です。でもう一つは最近私が知ったもので、日本の文化ではないですけれども、ウォーキングサッカーっていうのがありまして、それは日本でも団体さんがあって、今海外シンガポールとかオーストラリアにそれをこう輸出しようとしておられるんですけれども、要は歩いてやるサッカーなんです。走らないんです。だからそのスポーツ・フォー・エルダーなんですでもあるんですけれども、去年ティカッドっていうアフリカ開発会議っていうのが日本でありまして、横浜であったんですけれども、その時にそのウォーキングサッカーの人たちがやって、日本のだから子供から、それから日本に住んでおられる方、外国人の方一緒にウォーキングサッカーをしてなんか仲良くなる。やっぱりそのスポーツの良さは言葉を超えてすぐになんかこう仲良くなる、一つの目標に向かって何かやると仲良くなるっていうのがあるので、なんかそういうのがあったんです。で別に日本でまだそれは知られてないですけど、でもその何ですか、ね、年齢スポーツ・フォー・エルダーの観点から面白いなと思いまして、まあ連絡先は持ってますけれども、そういったこともあります。推し活は推し活の活っていうのは活動の活で、推しっていうのは推薦の推っていう字を推しで、自分が好きな対象、好
きなものは
何でもいい、
それこそスポーツだったらスポーツ選手とか本当に何でも大丈夫なので
ということですかね。はい、すみません、まあ今とりあえずご紹介しました。
サンチさん、はいどうぞ。
Hi, I have another metaphor I would like to introduce also from the world of sports, which I think can help us in maybe fostering the community of supporters of Japan abroad, which is the one of the relay race, so that when we race, if it's a half marathon or a marathon, we don't race alone, but we have people running next to us and carrying some of the way before we take over again. And I wonder if that could be a useful metaphor to share some of the responsibilities as well. For example, as a president, I'm very happy to tutor or mentor maybe a younger member of our program in some of the aspects of this task, for them to take over maybe in the future and also coach another member of our community. So I wonder if we can strengthen our networks that way as well.
はい、ありがとうございます。他に最後コメントあるかな。はい。
いや、ただスポーツの話なんですけど、むしろ社会的なスポーツが大事ですね。孤独が結構まだ今イギリスが孤独症というポジションできたのに、まだ孤独が話題になっております。
はい、ありがとうございます。
すみません、私もなんか全然別のコンテキストでその組織を運営するっていう時にですね、会長がもちろん一人でもいいけれど二人でなんて言うんでしょうね、コーホスティングなのか、そういうことも将来的には別にあってもいいのかな。会長二人もう共同代表っていうんですかねっていう形も考えていくと、next generation ね、その人たちがやるときに少しなんていうハードルが下がる。でおっしゃったようにやっぱり何かを急に全部バトンタッチするんではなくて、少しずつタスクをやる、エンゲージすることで次の人に やってもらうっていうことができるのか。それでその時によく言う組織論では、そのデレゲートしたらもうそれはその細かく言わないっていうことも必要だっていうのは、まあ、組織論ではありますよね。だから一つのあるイベントを任せるみたいなことでやるとか、まあなかなか言うは易しいですけれども、はい、ありがとうございます。
はい、はい、イサイアスさんお願い。
Thank you, Komuro-san, Komuro-sensei. すいません。You raised very important points, which couldn't come to our mind, but I found them very exciting. So Ethiopia, given the fact that it's known for marathon, given the fact that we can mobilize the famous runners to join this, maybe I will start communicating some of the top runners in the country together with the embassy and see if we can do something about this. So thank you for sharing that, and also for sharing the succession plan and bringing the youth to the leadership and trying to make a full cycle and ensure continuity. So I really appreciate that. I have one wish to see in Ethiopia, or at least in Africa, because most of the international communities, they have international schools. Because it's always exciting for me to see the Japanese education system in our kids, in our children. So if you come to Ethiopia, there is a large international community. There are so many people who really want to teach their kids with special academics. So there is a German school, there is a Stanford American school, Indian school, French school, and so on. I don't know how, but I wish to see Japanese school coming to Ethiopia, or at least one African country. So I don't have an answer, but this is just to ask a wish.
Thank you for sharing this important perspective. Thank you.
May I share an idea related to this? So there's a program called the Grassroots Program. Are you familiar with it? It's like I've seen it in the embassy in Islamabad. So there's a program called the Grassroots Program. So with it, while it may not be possible to bring a whole Japanese school to Ethiopia or to any other country, you could make a club for certain Japanese activities in which you could have Ikiden, or you could have other Japanese activities with that. So the grassroots programs, if you apply to it, they'll give you small funding for, let's say, implementing some Dento Tekina, Nihon Bunga, some traditional Japanese cultural aspect into a school with which you can do certain activities. It's called the Grassroots Program. Yeah.
ヤサルさんありがとうございます。はい、じゃあ他に最後コメントある方大丈夫ですかね。はい、ありがとうございます。そしたらこれをもちまして第6回帰国留学生の1日目を終了いたします。明日は日本時間の午前10時からこちらの会議室で第3セッションを行います。オンラインでも配信しますので、オンライン参加者の皆様もぜひご参加いただけますと幸いです。明日も皆様にお目にかかれることを楽しみにしております。本日はどうもありがとうございました。